Chapter House Studios. Do you remember a few years back when Games Workshop had the Tyranids and I believe some of the Space Marine units out there where they hadn't created models yet? I'm thinking about the Doom for Tyranids. Various third parties like Chapter House stepped in and produced a model. And this led to a big lawsuit that is in a lot more detail than this podcast. But this is where we began to see, Games Workshop was always aggressive about protecting their IP, their intellectual property. We saw this during the Great Purge on Board Game Geek. And on the one hand, that's what they have to do to control Warhammer 40,000 and enforce it, and of course, make money on that. But there are times when some people might say they cross the line and aggressively. Perhaps the only company being more aggressive is the whole unseen, reseen issue with Battletech on there and the Robotech IP in terms of just like an attack dog, draconian, going out there. So we have Chapter House Studios. Then, sometime after that, if you remember, there was an author. She wrote a book about Space Marines. And they were in some sort of sci-fi armor. And basically, Games Workshop tried to sue her for using the word Space Marine. Now, you know they changed Space Marines. You know they changed the name for Imperial Guard. What about... Now, I still believe Primaris Marines are about getting us to rebuy Marines on there. They're trying to double dip on the Marine fandom. So those of us who have Marines will rebuy Marines. Those who are playing Marines will buy Primaris, and they'll keep on pushing it forward. That's okay. Again, they have to make money. It's a consumer's choice. But how do you enforce Space Marines, the copyright? But if you sell Primaris Marines, primary Marines, they own that. They can enforce that. And I think we see more and more, not only with what used to be called the specialist games, Games Workshop essentially selling out their IP to third parties to license in mobile games and different reskins and clones of Talisman and things like that. I wonder if after they get everybody to rebuy Marines, if the next step is perhaps really leasing out Space Marines everywhere. Space Marines the movie. Primaris Marines the movie. Primaris Marines the lunchbox. Primaris Marines the toys. And just going crazy to stuff that make Warhammer 40K a true sci-fi generic brand as opposed to grimdark. Maybe that's a little bit too much of a conspiracy. But it would be easier to license out Primaris Marine and really enforce that IP and that copyright versus just calling it Space Marine on there. So perhaps that's another reason why Primaris are picking up more and more steam and Games Workshop is advancing the narrative and really pushing that forward to gradually, slowly eliminate regular Marines. That said, my Red Templars, the Brotherhood of the Sword, they will fight to the bitter end. They will fight until there is nothing left of the chapter. They will be on the tables fighting, no retreat, no surrender, no mercy.